Hello, hello! Pizza Pax here, and we're back with the fourth and final deck out of the Commander 2019 decks. This is Mystic Intellect, which is the blue-red-white deck, aka Jeskai. So without further ado, let's get into this. Gotta love those old boxes. There's no real way to get into them without just tearing them open. Alright. That one's miscut too. Looks like we had a whole run of miscut ones. It's pretty cool. We've got Savine, the Chronoclasm. Real nice. I can't remember, but I think Savine's Reclamation might have actually first appeared in this deck. I don't entirely remember. Don't recall if Savine's Reclamation had a printing before this or not. Alright, so we've got an overview of the deck. So apparently we've got Savine as our primary, and then Elsha and Ramacon as secondaries. Overview of the commander rules. And then the bios for each of the commanders, plus Gerard, Weatherlight Hero, who is the captain of the Weatherlight. Very nice. All right. Let's get into the decks. Or into the deck, rather. This is our last one. It is Jeskai colored, which is one of my favorite color combinations. Probably my second favorite. Bant, of course, being my first. Well, 5-color actually being my first. This is probably tied with Bant to a degree. Right. There we go. So we've got Savine, the Chronoclasm. 2 blue-red-white for a 2/2 human legendary human wizard. Prevent all damage that would be prevent all damage that would be dealt to Savine, the Chronoclasm. Whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell from your graveyard each turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Nice. Elsha of the Infinite. 2 blue-red-white for a 3/3 legendary Gen Monk with prowess. Nice. You may look at the top card of your library. You may cast the top card of your library if it's a non-creature, non-land card, and you may cast it as though it had flash. You know, that'd be really cool with, that'd be really cool with Planeswalkers. Because those are non-creature, non-land cards. Being able to play Planeswalkers at instant speed just seems fun. Ramacon, Sky Rampart. I remember this card. Blue-red-white for a 1/5 legendary with flying and defender. As it enters the battlefield, choose left or right. Each player may attack only the nearest opponent in the chosen direction, and players and planeswalkers controlled by that opponent. It's a very fun card. Alright, now we got some tokens. So we got 2 spirit tokens, which are 1/1 humans on the back. Those are very useful tokens in general. Then we've got a pair of Pegasus, or Pegasi, that are also humans on the back. Let's see, 3 2/2 Drakes, which are 1/1 humans on the back. I wonder what we're going to be making a bunch of. Might it be 1/1 humans? And then we have 3 treasure tokens that are also 1/1 humans on the back. Okay. So we have we have 10 human tokens with some other tokens on the back. Alright, Cliffside Rescuer. 1 and a white for 2/2 core soldier with vigilance. Tap, sacrifice it. Target permanent you control gains protection from each of your opponents until end of turn. Very nice. Can't be blocked, targeted, dealt damage, enchanted, or equipped by anything controlled by those players. Okay. Leadership Vacuum. Oh, so this is in 2 decks. 2 in a blue, instant. Target player returns each commander they control from the battlefield to the command zone. Draw a card. Ooh, I'm just mushmouth this week. Bloodthirsty Blade. 2 mana artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and is goaded. 1. Attach Bloodthirsty Blade to target creature an opponent controls. Activate this ability only anytime you can cast a sorcery. Very nice. Scaretiller. 4 mana, 1/4 artifact creature Scarecrow. Whenever it becomes tapped, choose one. You may put a land card from your hand on the battlefield tapped, or return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Nice. Ghostly Prison. It's the white version of Propaganda. That sounded differently than I intended, but very, very astute. 2 and a white, enchantment. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature they control that's attacking you. Very nice. Prismatic Strands. Ooh, I didn't realize this had a reprint. 2 and a white, instant. Prevent all damage that sources of the color of your choice would deal this turn. Flashback. Tap an untapped white creature you control. So this is a Pauper All-Star. I don't know how it does in Commander, but I would assume that it's, not bad, at least. Purify the Grave. For a white, you get an instant. Exile target card from a graveyard. Flashback for a white. Ray of Distortion. 3 and a white, instant. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Flashback for white. This used to be the primo enchantment removal in Pauper. I don't think it is anymore. Well, I mean, you also have Dust to Dust. But yeah, that's a whole different thing. Chemster's Insight. 3 and a blue, instant. Draw 2 cards. Jumpstart. You may cast it from your graveyard by discarding a card in addition to paying its other costs. Then exile this card. Deep Analysis. Deep Analysis, aka Deep Anal. 3 and a blue, sorcery. Target player draws 2 cards. Flashback, 1 and a blue, pay 3 life. Keep in mind this does say target player, so this can speed up mill strategies. Fact or Fiction, 3 and a blue, instant. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. An opponent separates them into 2 piles. Put one in your hand and the other in your graveyard. Good old FOF. Okay. EOT, FOF, FTW. And a turn FOF for the win. Fervent Denial. 3 blue, instant. Counter target spell. Flashback, 5 blue. That's a steep rate for a counterspell. Probably want to replace this. Mystic Retrieval. 3 and a blue, sorcery. Return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Flashback, 2 and a red. Now, if I remember correctly, this is used in Forgetful Fish, aka Dan. Una's Grace. 2 and a blue, instant. Target player draws a card. Retrace. This isn't part of the normal mix for Forgetful Fish, aka Dan, but I do like to include this in my builds. So, food for thought. Runic Repetition. 2 and a blue, sorcery. Return target exiled card with flashback you own to your hand. Very nice. Secrets of the Dead. 2 and a blue, enchantment. Whenever you cast a spell from your graveyard, draw a card. Think Twice. 1 and a blue, instant. Draw a card. Flashback, 2 and a blue. Burning Vengeance. 2 and a red, enchantment. Whenever you cast a spell from your graveyard, Burning Vengeance deals 2 damage to any target. Very nice. Also, a card that I like to include in my Dan builds if I'm doing either a 5-color or a blue-red version. There are some really cool 5-color Dan builds, but you generally want to have those be a little bit bigger than 80 cards. I like the 100 card and 120 card variant, but not everyone likes those. Desperate Ravings. 1 in a red, instant. Draw 2 cards and discard a card at random. Flashback, 2 in a blue. Faithless Looting. So good it was banned in Modern. For a red, you get a sorcery, draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. Flashback, 2 in a red. Gutter Snipe. 2 in a red for 2/2 Goblin Shaman. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. Scales a little better in Commander than otherwise, but still a very good card. Rolling Trembler. Rolling Temblor. Yeah. 2 in a red, sorcery. It deals 2 damage to each creature without flying. Flashback, 4 red. Crackling Drake. Blue, red for an X4 flying creature Drake with flying. Its power is equal to the total number of instant and sorcery cards in exile and in your graveyard. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. Farm to Market. So farm is 2 in a white, instant, destroy target attacking or blocking creature, and market is 2 in a blue sorcery, Aftermath, so you can only play from your graveyard. Draw 2 cards and discard a card. Or discard 2 cards. So draw 2, discard 2. Armillary Sphere. 2 mana artifact, 2, tap, sacrifice it, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. Kind of fallen off as far as Commander cards go at this point. Azorius Locket, 3 mana artifact, taps for a white or a blue, and then for 4 hybrid blue-white, you can tap and sacrifice it to draw 2 cards. Burnished Heart. This was from a simpler time. 3 mana, 2/2 artifact creature Elk. 3 and sacrifice it. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Put them onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle your library. Mandate of Peace. 1 in a white, instant. Cast only during combat. Your opponents can't cast spells this turn. End the combat phase. So that's a fun one to just end combat out of nowhere. Savine's Reclamation. Now this is the one that I can't remember if it was printed for this or if it was printed otherwise. Still, great card. Shows up in Vintage Cube every now and then. But for 2 in a white, you get a sorcery. Return target permanent card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If the spell was cast from a graveyard, you may copy the spell and choose a new target for that copy. Flashback, 4 in a white. Thalia's Geistcaller. 2 in a white for a 1/3 human cleric with lifelink. Whenever you cast a spell from your graveyard, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Sacrifice a spirit. Thalia's Geistcaller gains indestructible until end of turn. Mass Diminish. Huh. 1 in a blue, sorcery. Until your next turn, creatures target player controls have base power and toughness 1/1. Flashback, 3 in a blue. So this does some funny things with cards that aren't in this deck because of the wrong color, but Knight of Soul's Betrayal and similar effects to that, along with this, it's kind of funny. Just a little food for thought. Wall of Stolen Identity. 3. Identity theft is no laughing matter, Jim. Wall of Stolen Identity, 3 in a blue for a 0/0 shapeshifter wall. You may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield except it's a wall in addition to its other types and has defender. When you do, tap the copied creature and it doesn't untap during its controller's untap step for as long as you control Wall of Stolen Identity. So it's a good way to just shut something down and get a copy of it for yourself. Backdraft Hellkite. 3 red for a 4/4 dragon with flying. Whenever it attacks, each instant sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to its mana cost. Very nice. Dockside Extortionist. I forgot this was in this deck. You love it or you hate it. It's the card everyone wants reprinted. 1 in a red for a 1/2 Goblin Pirate. When it enters the battlefield, create X treasure tokens, where X is the number of artifacts and enchantments your opponents control. Very good card. Some would say a little too good. Ignite the Future. 3 in a red, sorcery. Exile the top 3 cards of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play those cards. If the spell is cast from your graveyard, you may play cards this way without paying their mana costs. Flashback, 7 in a red. Gerard, Weatherlight Hero. 2 red-white for 3/3 legendary human soldier with first strike. Whenever it dies, exile it and return to the bat. Whenever Gerard, Weatherlight Hero dies, exile it and return to the battlefield all artifact and creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. I don't know why that was so hard to say. Empowered Auto Generator. 4 mana artifact, enters the battlefield tapped, put a charge counter on it. Add X mana of any one color where X is the number of charge counters on Empowered Auto Generator. Oh, it's a scaling mana rock. That's pretty cool. Pristine Angel. I've always loved the art for this card. I have a playmat for this somewhere, and I don't know what I've done with it. But 4 white for a 4/4 Angel with flying. As long as Pristine Angel is untapped, it has protection from artifacts and all colors. Whenever you cast a spell, you may untap Pristine Angel. Very nice. Sun Titan. 4 white for a 6/6 giant with vigilance. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, you may return target permanent with converted mana cost 3 or less from the battlefield from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this has some really fun combos with things like Oblivion Ring. Stuff like that. There's also a few infinite combos that happen with it. Clever Impersonator. 2 blue for a 0/0 shapeshifter. You may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of any non-land permanent on the battlefield. That's right, any non-land permanent. Not just creature, non-land permanent. Ral Zarek. 2 blue-red for a 4 loyalty legendary planeswalker Ral. +1, tap target permanent, then untap another target permanent. -2, it deals 3 damage to any target. And then -7, flip 5 coins. Take an extra turn after this one for each coin that comes up heads. So, fun thing with this, can't do it in this deck, but in some other color combinations. This plus doubling season is hilarious, because you play it, you flip 5 coins, you may take some extra turns, then you bounce it, using any number of other cards, and do it again. Do it again! Do it again! Divine Reckoning. 2 white sorcery. Each player chooses a creature they control, destroy the rest. Flashback, 5 white. Dusk to Dawn. Dusk is 2 white for a sorcery, destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater. And then Dawn is a sorcery with Aftermath, so it can only come out of your graveyard. Return all creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. Very nice. Increasing Devotion. This might be why we have so many 1/1 human creature tokens. 3 white sorcery. Create 5 1/1 white human creature tokens. If the spell is cast from your graveyard, create 10 of those tokens instead. That's probably why we have 10 human tokens. Flashback, 7 white. Stormherd. This is a oldie but a goodie. 8 white sorcery. Create X 1/1 white Pegasus creature tokens with flying, where X is your life total. Yeah. Zatalpa, Primal Dawn. 6 white for a 4/8 legendary Elder Dinosaur with flying, double strike, vigilance, trample, and indestructible. This used to be a fun reanimate target. Now it's just in every, well, for a while it was in every Commander Precon with white. I don't know if it's come up in price at all, but probably not. Jace's Sanctum, 3 and a blue, enchantment. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, scry 1. River Kelpie. I prefer the other arts for this. 3 blue for a 3/3 beast. Whenever it or another permanent enters the battlefield from a graveyard, draw a card. Whenever a player casts a spell from a graveyard, draw a card. Persist. So whenever this creature dies, if it had no -1/-1 counters on it, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a -1/-1 counter on it. Keep in mind, persist gives you an actual -1/-1 counter. And the way the rules work is if you have a +1/+1 counter put on it, it nullifies any any -1/-1 counter. So if you can manage to put a +1/+1 counter on this, it just keeps coming back. Talran, Sky Summoner. 2 blue for a 2/2 legendary Merfolk Wizard. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 2/2 blue Drake creature token with flying. Also another card that has been printed into the absolute ground. Devil's Play, X and a red sorcery. Deals X damage to any target. Flashback, X, red. Nice. Increasing Vengeance. Red, instant. Copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. If this spell was cast from a graveyard, copy that spell twice instead. You may choose new targets for the copies. Flashback, 3 red. Magma Quake, X red, instant. Deals X damage to each creature without flying and each planeswalker. So not quite Earthquake, but does some cool stuff. Also one of the few ways to mass get rid of planeswalkers. Often overlooked card. Pristine Skywise. For blue-white, for a 6/4 dragon with flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, untap it. It gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. Refuse to Cooperate. 3 and a red, instant. Refuse deals damage equal to target spells Refuse deals damage to target spell's controller equal to that spell's converted mana cost. That was hard to say. Aftermath with Cooperate. 2 and a blue, instant Aftermath. Copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Exotic Orchard. Taps for one of any color that your opponent's lands could produce. Prairie Stream. Plains Island that enters tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Commander Sphere, 3 mana artifact, taps for your commander's color identity, and you can sacrifice it to draw a card. Is it Locket? 3 mana artifact, taps for blue or red, and then for 4 hybrid blue-red, you can tap and then sacrifice it to draw 2 cards. Soul Ring, we all know this one. 1 mana artifact that taps for 2. We got some basics. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 planes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 islands. 1, 2, 3, 4 mountains and ash barrens. Tap for colorless, basic land cycling for 1. Pauper All-Star. Azorius Chancery, which is the blue-white Karu, enters tapped. When it enters, return a land you control to its owner's hand, and then tap for blue-white. Boros Garrison, same thing for red-white. Boros Guildgate. It's a land gate, enters tapped, taps for red or white. Command Tower, taps for commander's color identity. Evolving Wilds. Tap and sacrifice it. Search your library for basic, put it into the play tapped, and then shuffle. Highland Lake, enters tapped, taps for blue or red. Is it Boilerworks? It is the blue-red Karu. So we have all 3 Karus in our color in our color wedge. Is it Guildgate? It is the land gate. Enters tapped, taps for blue or red. So it's the blue-red gate. Myriad Landscape. Enters tapped, taps for colorless. 2, tap and sacrifice it. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards that share a land type. Put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Keep in mind, this only gets basic lands. They have to share a basic land type, which means you cannot get 2 wastes with this, but you can get a regular land and a snow-covered land, or basic and a snow-covered of the same type. Mystic Monastery. Enters taps for blue, red, white. It's the Jeskai, I believe it was Shard land. It's from Khans of Tarkir, originally. Stone Quarry. Enters taps for red or white. Swiftwater Cliffs. Enters tapped. You gain a life, and taps for blue or red. Temple of the False Gods. Probably one of the first lands you should replace. It taps for 2. Activate only if you control 5 or more other lands, or 5 or more lands. It doesn't have to be other lands. So you do count this land in that total. Terramorphic Expanse, functional equivalent of Evolving Wilds. Tap and sacrifice it. Search your library for a basic. Put into play. Tap, then shuffle. Tranquil Cove. Enters tapped. You gain a life. And then taps for blue or white. Windscarred Crag. Exact same thing, but for red or white. Then we have Discover More Magic. Learn mtg.wizards.com, which I think is actually now defunct. And Popular Magic formats in the back. So, that's a thing. All right. Well, thank you for joining me on this adventure with Mystic Intelligence. As always, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff for the algorithm. It really helps us out and makes it easier for me to bring all these awesome videos to all of you. So yeah, it would really help me out and help out the channel. But until next time, stay awesome. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.